So the liberals are defying Pelosi, saying that they're going to block the infrastructure bill, the failed infrastructure bill, but simultaneously they're giving lip service. People like Pramila Jayapal, for instance, yesterday they vowed to block the popular infrastructure bill, is what they're saying, a central piece of Biden's Build Back Better agenda, hours after Biden urged their support, and Speaker Nancy Pelosi announced plans to bring the bipartisan proposal to the House floor. Dozens of members of the CPC, the Congressional Progressive Caucus, were finally bothered to say anything. Pramila Jayapal is the chair and has said for months that they would oppose it, but they said that they would oppose it until they reached an agreement. And Pelosi talked them into a meeting and then left shortly after, walked out without talking to anybody. Jayapal emerge and try to explain the group's position on the bill, and we're going to watch her video. She said that they're sticking with their strategy and they're not going to vote unless they get what they want. And she said there are too many no votes for the BIF to pass today. However, we are committed to staying here until we get this Build Back Better agenda act done at the legislative text. We've talked about what the Build Back Better is, guys. It's absolutely horrible. It is pretty much the Great Reset, the fourth industrial revolution coming in via this sort of progressive agenda, right? But Jayapal said that they're going to be back a resolution endorsing Biden's $1.7 trillion framework, which was rolled out Thursday morning. So So she said, with the framework that there, we can endorse that in principle, but we do need to have the legislative text, and we will vote both bills through together. So she's basically on one end, right, saying that they're not going to do this, that they're not going to fold. On the other end, she's like, yeah, we're going to approve the 1.75 trillion framework. Guys, it started out at over 6 trillion, this whole thing, right? And now it's at 1.75. That's less than what they were supposed to even count for. And she keeps saying that these investments that they outline are the things that the Progressive Caucus has been fighting for. They exist because they held a line. She's giving herself accolades, but there should be no accolades given, because this is really what really is happening is a complete insult. They're shitting on the working class with what they're trying to pass here. So Manu Raju was reporting. He said Pelosi told members, don't embarrass the president by voting down the infrastructure bill as he flies overseas. She also said she would put the infrastructure bill on the floor vote. Pelosi said she wanted to get the bill through. And Sinema and Manchin have vowed to get it through. And there's a couple of videos of Pramila. And let's play the first one. This is where she's just got out of this meeting and she's telling people what happened.
Everyone in the room enthusiastically endorsed a resolution that approves in principle the framework that the president laid out today. We are really proud of the president and of our Progressive Caucus and our progressive allies for getting so many of our big priorities into the framework that was laid out to us today.
Everything, fam. Yep. It's just theater. Every single, everywhere.
Yep. And I'm done covering this unless we're talking about really what's in that bill. I just wanted to do this last thing because I saw how people were like, doing their whole Jane Austen, like, oh, I can't believe this. And we're going to talk about those people. And Pramila is right here giving accolades, saying the things we wanted are in there. No, they're not. They've gutted vision, dental. They've gutted the paid leave pretty much to nothing. And she continues too, talking about how great it is and that they're sticking to their guns.
It is not everything that we would do if we had much bigger majorities, and we are not giving up the fight for anything that we said we wanted. Not a thing. We will fight like heck. You've seen how we fought here for this, and we will continue that fight. And I believe the president is with us, because as he keeps saying, he wrote the damn bills. So I believe he's with us on this fight, and I believe we're going to get it. But
they all
we
need to
will
go.
make significant differences once we get these two bills passed and we're looking forward to doing that.
She's not
as
fighting
soon
for a
as
Medicare
possible.
bill, is she, fam?
No.
I mean, she's
It's
not
ex-
fighting for the people anymore. There's just this bullshit theater. And I believe, fam, the president is with us, fam.
Yeah, sure. He literally gutted the whole thing. They got it, and they blame Manchin, like Edwin said, right? They blame Manchin and Cinema. They're just
Always.
it's a rotating loop of who they're blaming, right? If it was a Republican, they would blame the Republican. Now it's the moderate, the Cinema and Joe Manchin. Oh, the parliamentarian. They'll pull somebody out of their ass every time to blame, but they don't want to fucking do it. That's it. It's as simple. They don't want to do it. And the squad is PR management. In case you haven't noticed, she's out there saying, we're fighting for this, but at the end of the day, we're going to agree with Biden, and Biden's doing great. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's real. It's theater, as Pasta says. It's theater. And yeah, you know what? I don't even need to hear more from her. Let's watch the Pelosi video. Oz, as she walks away, like Pelosi's like the reincarnation of Marie Antoinette times like a million.
Are the votes there for a vote this afternoon? What was your message to progressives in there?
Give us some space, please.
What did she do?
Are the votes there for a vote this afternoon? What was your message to progressives in there?
Give us some space, please.
That's her walking. Let me know when we're back. Are we back? Yeah. Okay. So that's her walking out of the meeting with the Progressive Caucus. So they're trying to make it out like, oh, the squad is demanding things, and Pelosi walked off. But I mean, they're not really opposing her. Here is from the uprising. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi apparently found herself persona non grata at a meeting of the Congressional Progressive Caucus on Thursday as she attempted to persuade left-wing Democrats to sign off on the bipartisan infrastructure legislation. Multiple sources confirmed to the uprising that Pelosi was kicked out of the meeting by Pramila Jayapal. She got kicked out and said she was leaving anyway, a staffer said. So, yeah.
Oh my God. Are they? They are so cute, these people.
I
really.
know, right?
I mean, this is like, we're in a sad state of affairs. We're in a very bad place, ma'am. We are in a very bad place.
Terrible place. I don't think people realize how bad this is, because this is electoral bullshit. But like, the Build Back Better agenda, like I said, is the Great Reset. And like, they made it out to be this progressive thing, the most progressive deal since FDR's a New Deal. And now you have shit, right? And now these pundits, these people, because I'm going to call them pundits, and establishment light, right? Mainstream media, establishment light. Now you have Emma Vigilant, right? The paid leave news has left me almost speechless with rage. All I'll say for now is Biden botched this in two ways. One, by waiting and not riding the momentum of the early 2021 stimulus. And two, not getting ahead of Cinema and Manchin's predictable villainy with messaging / pressure. I mean, seriously? This looks like it was written by a bad Jane Austen fan fiction. Speechless with rage. You're speechless on something so goddamn predictable. Like, I don't understand how these people have jobs. I mean, I do, but how do people still take anything she says? I like, it's so obvious they were going to do this. We were screaming this months ago that this was a literal Trojan horse to get in, to tax you, to privatize our roads, to pretty much destroy the working class. There's a war on the working class right now, and these people are acting like, getting so sidetracked by this theater, and he should have written the momentum of the stimulus. Like, what the hell does that even mean? I'm sorry,
listen. It's you know what? It's like, in the first segment, I felt you're like, the nausea coming through, like, oh, this is just fucking theatrics. This is such bullshit. Like, and then like this, how many times are we doing this shit right now that we're now like, we're being commentators at a bad Jane Austen play. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's just, this is what we're doing right now. We've been talking, it's like, this is so disgusting. It's like they get the people to pay attention to shit that's just nothing more than a distraction. And the people are now fighting for incremental losses rather than incremental gains. We're moving backwards over here. Not to mention the fact that, and this is the thing, and when the pandemic first started, Ilhan Omar wrote a bill. It was 2 pages. And I was like, okay, this is what we need. Oh, maybe it was Rashida. I can't remember which one, but they've all co-signed onto it. It was kind of thrown in the trash. I think
it was
Tulsi
Rashida.
was a part of it. I think Tulsi even kind of signed on it too as well, talking about money that goes out to people, universal health care as far as like situations when it came to the pandemic and the COVID-19. And it was easy to read, easy to understand. They should have had a debate on the floor for it, but no, they scrap it. Instead, they put this huge, huge bill there. As we know, fam, they'll scrap the shit that really goes out to the people, but all the things that are necessary for the 4th Industrial Revolution and the Great Reset to happen will be in there, will never be talked about, and will be law before you fucking know it. And this is where we're at.
And they'll talk about it, Pasta, but they'll talk about it months later, acting like, oh, this is so bad. How could we have ever done anything about it? Here's Anna Kasparian. Good thread. She's talking about AOC's thread on details matter. I'm not going to go into that because it's a bunch of bullshit of AOC talking about how critical Build Back Better is to be paired with all the things that, that the infrastructure bill has, and they need to pass both bills. It's basically bullshit. But when Anna was commenting, she said, good thread. The bill also privatizes public infrastructure, which means more tolls and fees for commute to work. They should vote no on the bipartisan infrastructure bill. They absolutely should not tell us how awful the bill is and then turn around and vote for it. Where were you, Anna? Like, where were you months ago when we were criticizing this thing and she was so busy talking about Jimmy Dore and everything else? Like, this is what I mean. It's not just privatizing public infrastructure and giving you more tolls. It's privatizing literally everything we have in this country, from our roads, from their data, your everything, every livable human thing. And here you are months later, they should, but no, absolutely. Let me whisk my finger at something I was supporting like 2 seconds ago. Now that everybody knows what's in it, oh, okay. Now we're going to pretend to be upset like we weren't like gallivanting this whole thing. Like, it's just, it irritates me that these people have like 5 million subscribers and they spew out actual misinformation.
Yeah.
Like,
it's not just privatizing public infrastructure. It's nationalizing private fucking roads so they can run goddamn oil lines through shit as well. So she didn't even know what the fuck she's talking about, Anna, when it comes to this shit. We were very fortunate to have the people like Paulie and Sebs and Allie to go into this and break this shit down. But like, we're doing this on our own as citizens. What are they doing? What are they doing with that Katzenberg money? Don't they have anybody to go through the actual bill and talk about real substantive stuff? Instead, they just talk about the distractions. Why? Because they're paid to be part of the distractions.
Well, they get
that's what TYT is.
They get their funding from the same people pushing the 4th Industrial Revolution at Davos. So they
Please.
can't do that. So
TYT, trashy trash.
I wanted to play this clip, Pasta, to show you because we're gonna the criticism that we've had of this bill from the get-go are legitimate concerns of what we've been calling this whole Great Reset. And it's not a conspiracy theory or it's conspiracy smoothie, as Naomi Klein unfortunately called it. It's actually a reality. So let's play what Chank and Anna's meager analysis is, so you guys can compare that to what it should be.
So in other words, Biden's cowardice, weakness, and failure to play hardball with corporate Dems is somehow the progressives' fault? No, that's on him. So blaming progressives for his failures is pretty pathetic.
It goes a little further than that. If you just stretch out the logic a little bit, progressives are actually fighting for the original Biden plan. It was Biden's plan that he put forward. So now corporate media has flipped it on its head and saying, since progressives are fighting for Biden's plan, they're hurting Biden. But wait a minute, they eviscerated Biden's plan. The corporate Democrats did, Manchin and Sinema did. And they cut it in half. And then Pelosi came out and bragged about how it's cut in half. So how are progressives fighting against Biden's agenda? No, look, but we told you this a long time ago. You saw it with your own eyes. We told you the corporate media at the end would be the thugs that would come in and intimidate progressives. And they would yell at them in unison You heard us say it, and here it is. It's happening just like we told you it would happen. And they're coming and go, oh, it's all the progressives' fault. Of course it's the progressives. Just take crumbs, as you always do, and learn to deal with it. No media figure apparently figured out. I mean, we're going to get to this in a minute, but Don Lemon was talking to Jamal Bowman, and he's like confounded as to why there isn't a deal yet. It's corporate donors, knucklehead. It's corporate donors. And so, look, I'm done being frustrated with mainstream media. I don't think they're bright enough to even understand the one thing about politics, but the rest of us totally get it. It's obvious. So when you see Pelosi out there, it's hashtag marketing. Oh, it's all it is marketing. It's transformative. Why? Because I say it is. Now write it down.
It's never about them conforming to what the corporate media and the corporate Democrats want. They've always been a part of it. They were put there for a reason, to make it look like they're fighting for us. And everybody can see that chunk. You know what I'm saying? And this is that small pivot of trying to get your foot out the door going, oh shit, we got a little bit too corporate ourselves. Let me provide an out and act like we're just pinpointing the serious problems so we can pivot out the door when the fucking mainstream media goes coming down like a deck of cards.
We told you from the start. No, you didn't. You were busy giving compliments to the squad and how great this is. You were only talking about the expansion of Medicaid, and which is gone. The expansion of Medicare, the expansion of child of the like the paid leave, the expansion of the child care tax. What else were they talking about? Just like literal like incremental bullshit. They were framing it like, this is unprecedented. Wow, I can't believe, oh, this and Bernie Sanders and AOC and the squad. They've never actually talked about any of this shit at all, not once. And they frame themselves like they're not part of corporate media, like they're not taking money from the very people pushing this entire agenda. So this is how they, the hook, line, and swim. And basically, I just wanted to say that I really love how months after some of us were insulted, because we were, for telling you that Build Back Better is beyond dangerous and full of incremental crumbs, the still Bernie progressive contingent is crying about Biden's failure against the all-powerful Manchin and Sinema, because now suddenly Manchin and Sinema are the most powerful people on earth and nobody could defeat them. And if this is where you're at, Emma, I'm gonna need you to speed it up. The fact that you're speechless on something so goddamn predictable is a detriment to your viewers, and it is a detriment to her viewers. Her viewers should demand better from Emma. And all I'm going to say is that the progressive media is going to spend a whole week on this, like acting like they're so surprised and concerned. They're progressive establishment media, right? And they can't believe how Biden failed and how the squad let them down and all of this stuff. But like everything is crumbling before us, guys, everything. And these people are acting like this electoral theater is the biggest concern. Like and just to finish up this section, fam, look at how it went from AP News, right? Dems eye a $6 trillion plan on infrastructure, Medicare, immigration. Insider, Joe Manchin calls for enough to $4 trillion in infrastructure spending as Democrats are poised to control Congress. Then we go to CBS News. Biden sets a 1.9 to 2.2 trillion price range for social safety net bill. It's a social safety net. Where's the social safety net? And then now Biden at the Capitol to pitch $1.75 trillion agenda, unite Democrats. That's where we went, right? I mean, and Vanessa Bealey to end the section here. The best, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris.
Yeah, so far the sinking ship, fam. It's ridiculous. The other day, Tucker Carlson did a report about now that the Biden administration is offering reparations to any of the parents who were separated from their kids in cages during the Trump administration. He was offering them a lot of money. Now that upset me for one reason, because I still believe that we should be honoring reparations. The first people who deserve reparations are American descendants of slaves, the people who built this fucking country. We never talk about that. That's so you know that the Democrats who say they're for people of color and the working class are nothing but a bunch of fucking blowhards anyways, because they're never going to talk about anything serious. But this whole situation with the Biden administration talking about this, they're still not talking about the mechanism and why people are forced to come here. They're not talking about imperialism. They never talk about the substance of anything, just like they're doing here in this freaking bill. They're not talking about anything that's really in it. And that's why they make these bills 2,700 pages, 1,800 pages. So it's too damn tiring and hard and ridiculous to go through it. It's just a smoke screen. We are in a bad place, ladies and gentlemen, a very bad place.